In a world where hustle culture collides with wellness warnings and workplace demands keep evolving, how do we stay sharp without burning out? How do we navigate the endless stream of wellness trends while actually getting results? This is the Work and Wellness Podcast, and I'm your host, Angela Davies. Drawing from my own journey of wins, stumbles, and honest revelations, I'll be bringing you raw, unfiltered conversations with experts and inspiring guests who've been there, lived it, and found a better way. Together, we'll cut through the noise and workshop what it really means to be well in today's workplace. No more choosing between success and sanity. No more sacrificing health for achievement. Whether you're struggling with burnout, searching for purpose, or simply ready to work smarter, not harder, you're in the right place. This is real talk about real solutions for real people. Let's get into it. Hello, friends. Welcome to the show. Today, our episode is going to be sharing 10 micro habits that have a significantly positive impact on your well-being and also your productivity and performance. Now, this is a topic that's really close to my heart. I teach this a lot in my corporate well-being workshops, and why I love it so much is because each of the habits that I'm going to share with you today have a really strong ROI. So their return on investment is high. And what I mean by that is that you're investing a minute or two every day in some of these habits, and the return on both your well-being and your productivity at work is significantly more than the minute or two you're investing. So I'm really, really excited to share them with you today. The idea isn't that you have to implement all 10 of them. It's merely sharing some examples with you of things that you can add to your daily routine or swap out for things that you're already doing that will have a marked impact on your well-being and performance. We're going to cover 5 key areas. There'll be 2 habits that I'll share under each of the 5 areas, but these 5 areas are scientifically shown as the top 5 areas that positively impact your well-being. They are mindfulness, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and relationships. So let's get into it. We are going to start with mindfulness. So it's all about how we create a little bit more focus, presence, and calm in a busy and distracted world. It's really about being present and intentional. And there are 2 habits that I want to share with you that really help with your mindfulness, but also help with your focus as well. The first one is screen-free time. So I think if any of us were to sit down and look on our iPhones at our screen time, it would be in the hours. And so what I'm saying is this habit is setting aside 30 minutes every evening or throughout the day to unplug. Studies have shown that excessive screen time increases stress levels and it disrupts our ability to relax. Screen-free time, especially before bed, helps reduce cortisol, which is our stress and energy hormone, and it improves our mental clarity. Now, ironically, I like to put a reminder in my phone, so I guess it's using the screen to be helpful for that screen-free time. It's a great opportunity to read a book or sit in silence. You know, we did an episode on the benefits of solitude for ideation and getting to know yourself. So whether you sit in silence or whether you take some time to read a book, 30 minutes a day of screen-free time significantly improves our ability to relax and reduces our stress levels. So that is tip number 1, 30 minutes of screen-free time every day. The second one is reading. Now, reading really helps with mindfulness. There's new research actually that shows that reading 30 minutes every day helps to significantly reduce the level of distraction that we have in our lives. So there's so much distraction now, and by reading for 30 minutes every day, you reduce the levels of distraction. It helps you learn to focus again. So replace your scrolling with reading. And this is something that I've taken to doing. I put my Kindle in my bag now when I'm out and about. And so when I would be sitting maybe at a doctor's surgery or waiting for an appointment, I would always be either scrolling, emailing, doing work. And now I take out my Kindle just to read, even if it's 10 minutes. And it really, I find, helps with my focus for the day. You know, when I go back to my work, I find that I'm a lot less distracted than if I have taken that time to scroll or be on my phone instead. So habit number 2 is implementing reading in times when you would usually scroll. So mindfulness really isn't about perfection. It's about choosing small moments to connect with being present and to connect with yourself. Another example is, and this isn't one of the habits, but just an example is, I really try when I wait in lines to not pick up my phone. So whether I'm waiting at the post office or waiting in a line for something, it's such human nature, and you'll see so many people pick up their phone while they're waiting in that line. A third little bonus tip in there, it's not an official tip of the 10, but is to just take that time to notice your surroundings when you're waiting in the line at the supermarket or the post office or anywhere where you are waiting. So those are the 2 on mindfulness: screen-free time and reading over scrolling. The second topic is nutrition. So how you make small changes within your nutrition to significantly improve your well-being and help with your focus. It doesn't need to be about restriction either. I think so often the messages that we get around nutrition is that it's about restricting. And I want to share 2 things. One's sort of a mindset tip and one's an actual nutrition tip that are not about taking things out of your diet. The first one is adding protein to each meal. I'm sure so many of you are familiar with this concept, but incorporating a source of protein like eggs, meat, beans, nuts into every meal not only helps to stabilize our blood sugar levels, so that means we're better able to focus because we're not getting those spikes and dips in blood sugar, but it also promotes satiety, which reduces unnecessary snacking. And research shows that balanced protein intake supports muscle repair, energy, and overall metabolic health. So trying to get 1.5 to 2 times your weight in protein in grams. So say if you weigh 100 kilos, getting 150 to 200 grams of protein into your diet every day is going to be really helpful for that. From a health perspective, obviously improves metabolic health and muscle repair, but from a focus and work perspective, it really helps with balancing those energy levels, which means that you have that consistent energy to focus throughout the day. The second habit for nutrition, so habit number 4 overall, is the crowding out technique. Again, I want us to focus less on what we have to remove and more about what we can add in to benefit us from a nutrition perspective. So this is really about adding in things to our food that is going to make us feel more focused, well, energized. And an example of this is filling half of your plate with vegetables, then some lean protein and less processed food. So how do we add in things like veggies, lean protein, good sources of fats to really crowd out our plate so there's less space for sort of that processed food that's going to leave us maybe feeling a little tired and sluggish and reaching for more food afterwards. So this method naturally shifts your choices without feeling restrictive, and that's why I really love it. So adding good things in naturally makes room for healthier habits, and we don't have to think about deprivation. So that's the 2 nutrition habits there. Adding protein at each meal and using the crowding out technique where you add all the good things in rather than thinking about what you have to remove from your nutrition. Number 3, sleep. Now, arguably sleep is the absolute foundation of our health. It impacts our mood, our focus, our energy, and if we get sleep right, everything else tends to follow. And if we get it wrong, it really does make it harder for us to make the right choices for the rest of the day, for our well-being and at work. And I'm sure we've all experienced that after a poor night's sleep. There are two things that are really going to help your sleep. The first one is morning sunlight. So within an hour of waking, step outside for 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight. Exposure to morning light helps regulate your circadian rhythm, which is sort of that cycle that takes you through wake all the way to sleep and then back to wake again. And when you activate your circadian rhythm with natural light in the morning, it actually kicks off that circadian rhythm, which takes you throughout your day, making it easier to fall asleep at night. Studies also show that morning sunlight boosts your mood by increasing serotonin levels. So if you are already doing something in the morning, if you have a morning coffee, if you have your breakfast, if you do exercise, can you just do a portion of that outside without sunglasses on in the morning sunlight? So it's not about doing anything extra, it's just about shifting where you are doing it. So morning sunlight is really a game changer for your sleep and helping you wake up in the morning as well. Tip number 2 for sleep is keeping your phone out of the bedroom. Now, this is the one I get the most resistance about when I run this in wellbeing workshops. I know people use it as their alarm, but the good news is you can buy an alarm clock relatively cheaply from Kmart, JB Hi-Fi, etc. And keeping your phone out of the bedroom has a myriad of benefits. Blue light from screens actually suppresses our melatonin, which is the hormone that regulates sleep. So when your phone is by your side, we are naturally inclined to want to be on it or pick it up. And that blue light is suppressing the melatonin, which is suppressing our ability to get to sleep. Removing the phone from the bedroom can also remove nighttime anxiety by scrolling and help you wind down. What it also does is it stops you from wanting to grab it first thing in the morning and having it set the tone for the type of day you're going to have. So whilst that's not necessarily a sleep benefit, it is a benefit when it comes to focus and mindfulness as well. So keeping the phone out of the bedroom. Now, if you're someone who, from a safety perspective, or you've got teenage kids, you want to have your phone in the bedroom in case someone needs to contact you, my suggestion is to plug it in away from the bed so that if you needed to get to it, you would have to get up out of bed to go and look at the phone. And that helps to just put resistance between you and the phone. So morning sunlight, excellent for kickstarting that circadian rhythm to get us ready for a good night's sleep. And then keeping the phone out of the bedroom or at least away from the bed where you aren't able to reach it. Those small adjustments can really have a strong ripple effect, making your nights a lot more restful and your days more energized. Number 4 is exercise. So topic 4. And exercise really helps to boost our mood. It improves our sense of wellness overall. It shows us that we can do hard things and it helps us focus, along with a myriad of other benefits. And it doesn't have to mean intense and lengthy gym sessions. It's really about moving your body in a way that feels good. So the 2 tips or habits that I have for you are movement snacks. So every hour, take 1 to 2 minutes to move. My favorite tip is 10 squats every hour. So set a little alarm on your computer or your phone and get up and do 10 squats every hour. It's a great way to get movement in. It helps to get that blood flow going back to your brain. So if you feel like you're lacking focus, it helps to get that blood flow back and really help you to focus and be creative again. And there's research that shows that breaking up the sedentary time of sitting down while you work improves blood sugar levels and cardiovascular health. And there's some emerging research that says 10 squats every hour actually counteracts the negative effects of sitting all day. So that's absolutely achievable for most people. My dream is to go into corporate workplaces and see everyone doing 10 squats on the hour every hour. I have big dreams of that, but that's movement snacks. The next one, Morning stretches. So starting your day with a 5-minute stretch routine. Stretching increases blood flow, it releases tension, and it sets a positive tone for the day. It's also linked to reduced stress levels. So instead of getting up and looking at your phone first thing, can you spend 3 to 5 minutes just doing some stretching, especially as we start to get a little bit older? Adding in that mobility is really, really important so that we are able to continue moving as effectively as possible. I really want to leave you with a tip on movement. That movement is medicine, and it's really about that a little goes a long way, and it's consistency over intensity or length of time. So the 2 tips: movement snacks and morning stretches for exercise. Finally, the 5th topic is relationships, and human connection is one of the biggest contributors to our overall well-being. In fact, the longest running longitudinal study that Harvard has done, it's the longest running study ever, has followed the same people for over 80 years and then their families. And it found that the key to happiness is the strength of our relationships. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to know, that it is scientific that the better our relationships and the stronger our relationships, the better and more happy we are. But also, a side finding of this study was that good relationships and strong relationships actually decrease anxiety and depression, and they reduce our risk of neurocognitive decline, which is Alzheimer's and dementia. So there's huge benefit to investing in our relationships for our health. There are 2 habits or tips that I wanted to share on this. The first one is an 8-minute phone call, and this is inspired by Simon Sinek, who is a leadership development expert. And this is really about dedicating 8 minutes to a phone call with someone you care about. I don't know about you, but I used to really think about the fact that I couldn't pick up the phone and call someone because I didn't have half an hour or an hour to connect with them. But reducing the bar and just saying, hey, have you got 8 minutes for a phone call? We all have that, whether we're driving between different areas, whether we're spending time scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, we've got 8 minutes to check in with a friend. And research shows that even short, meaningful conversations improve mood and reduce feelings of isolation. And feelings of isolation have been strongly linked to depression and anxiety. So having this 8-minute phone call is linked to being able to help reduce those feelings of isolation, depression, and anxiety in our friends. It's really about small, consistent interactions that strengthen relationships over time. The final tip is scheduled quality time, blocking off 1 hour a week to spend with someone you care about, distraction-free. Now, I think distraction-free is really important. There have been many times where I'm sure a lot of people will resonate with this. I have caught up with people and they have been on their phones, or their phones have been on the table, and it signals to the person you're with that their time is less valuable than whatever is going to come up on that phone. And so I think distraction-free is really important. My favorite way to schedule quality time is over a walk outdoors. You can't look at your phone. You can't be doing anything else. The movement just helps the flow and the conversation. You're getting in your movement as well, so we're habit stacking, but it's a really great way to catch up with someone. Studies show that quality time strengthens emotional bonds and it improves overall life satisfaction. And I think that scheduling that in with friends really makes a huge difference to the way you feel. We all feel great after we have these catch-ups. So relationships are really important for our overall health and well-being. So the 2 tips for relationships are an 8-minute phone call and scheduled quality time. And it's really about remembering to invest the time in those relationships. So to recap, the 10 habits that we have covered today that you could implement one of, you could implement some of, or you could switch out for your existing habits are: screen-free time, 30 minutes a day; reading instead of scrolling when you're waiting for something; adding protein to every meal; using the crowding out technique when it comes to your nutrition, so adding in good stuff rather than thinking about what you have to remove; getting in 5 minutes of morning sunlight to kickstart your circadian rhythm, removing your phone out of the bedroom, having movement snacks in your day, so a minute of squats or 10 squats every hour, starting your day with morning stretches instead of scrolling, making a weekly 8-minute phone call to a friend, and then scheduling quality time with mates. There you have it. There are 10 research-backed micro habits that really can help you reset your well-being this January. And you might want to start with one and then slowly introduce any others that resonated with you. It's all about building small incremental changes. And like I said at the start, these small habits that really require very little energy input have such a huge positive impact both on our well-being and also on our ability to perform well at work. Hopefully you've been able to take a couple out of that. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Thanks for joining me on Work and Wellness. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, someone in your network might need to hear this too. Share it with a colleague or friend who could use these insights. I'd love to keep the conversation going, so find us on Instagram at Mind Your Grit, where we share daily tips and continue these discussions. And if you found value in today's episode, please take time to rate and review the show. It makes such a huge difference and helps other people discover conversations they might really need. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Each week, we're building a community of people who believe that success and well-being go hand in hand. You can find the notes, resources, and links from today's episode at mindyourgrit.com. This is Work and Wellness with Angela Davies. Your work matters, your wellness matters, and this is where it all comes together. See you next week.